Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. My name is Ben Tuyene. I'm one of your co-hosts for this podcast that's dedicated towards helping you untangle the mess of insurance within your practices. Today, I have my dear friend and colleague Naren with us today. We're going to be talking about some awesome things marketing related. Naren, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Ben. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. I'm super excited to chat with you about this topic. We've been spending some time kind of taking a look at different dynamics as it pertains to marketing and marketing companies. And interestingly, Naren, there's since you and I have been working together and talking, more and more clients are using your services. So it's been fun to see the inner workings of how different marketing companies work. So what we want to talk about today is the truth about what your marketing company owes you. And I imagine that when you are pitched a sales pitch to hire somebody to do something for you, naturally, as business owners, we have high expectations, right? And it's something that as people that service, clients, that we can never escape those expectations in terms of what people want. What I want to start with, Naren, if you don't mind, is I do hear that there are a lot of practices that have really, really beautiful websites, but those websites are not driving new patients. What are your thoughts on that as to why that is?
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. A lot of people have websites they love, but eventually they give up on those websites because, like you said, they don't really help. They don't really bring in new patients to the practice. So this beautiful website that is not doing anything for you is a useless website, right? So I've seen, I would say, majority of practice owners go through this cycle again and again and again and again, and then finally they come to us and then they get a website that actually works. How do you know it works? It will rank for more than 100 keywords on page one of Google. It'll get more than 100 phone calls when you set up a call tracking number. So it will really start driving, visitors, Google rankings, and most importantly, leads to the practice. And those leads should be tracked with call tracking, with lead tracking, and so forth. So that's the key. If it's not doing that, doesn't matter how much you love your website because it's not really helping you grow your business. Rather, it's catering to people who already know, like, and trust you, which they would have come to you anyways. They're not coming to you because of the website. They're coming to you because they already knew you, liked you, and trust you. I'm talking about your existing patients.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. That kind of brings up a thought about, I was watching a clip yesterday about dinosaurs have been around for 2 million years or something, like 200 million years or something like that. Well, the human being species as it is today has only been around for a couple 100,000. And yet, there's no meaningful, intelligent progress among the dinosaurs compared to our species, where we eventually became intelligent beings. So we naturally adapted towards change to be who we are today. And I imagine that building websites, you kind of want to do the same thing, right? Is sort of do all that tracking, not doing things that other people do that don't work. So to our guest, I do have a tough question for Naren with his permission. He's been okay with me asking this next question. So I recently was working with a client, Naren, who I ended up referring to you. They were doing reasonably okay when it comes to SEO. However, they were still not getting new patient calls or inquiries. Can you sort of walk us through, what the cause could be for that particular situation?
Yeah, so you are describing a situation where they are doing well on SEO, they're ranking for keywords, but still they're not getting inquiries, right? There could be one of two reasons why that might be happening. The number one reason is the people who come to your website, let's say through Google, they don't know you, like you, and trust you. So part of the website's job is to get them to know you, like you, and trust you. So how do you do that? So for example, we do business with those we like. Perhaps, we could humanize you by adding pictures of you and your family, your hobbies, etc., on the About the Doctor page. We can do that for your team as well. So even your bio can have a paragraph about your interests. Hey, he's a dad of 3 young children, 2 girls and 1 boy between the ages of 2 to 9. And then you can add some pictures. He loves hiking, he loves snorkeling, etc. You can add some pictures. Same thing if you're a mom or even a single, doctor, like a doctor without, kids, you could highlight your interests, highlight your pets, highlight your significant other, make it fun, make it personable. We do business with those who are like us. So when you highlight those things, they will find something in common. So for example, if you like traveling and you highlight that, and the patient loves traveling and they see some of your pictures, now they like you because you have something in common. Same thing with parents, same thing with pet owners. So highlight things that help them see you as someone similar to them, someone they can build a relationship with. The other thing you may want to highlight is awards, right? Because everybody says I'm the best, but award is an independent third party saying you are really good. So anytime you win an award, make sure it's on your homepage, it's on the About the Doctor page. So one of the things we do for our clients is we have a product called Doctor's Choice Awards, where if you have the most number of reviews for anybody, like you, for example, you are a general dentist. So if you have the general dentist with the most number of reviews in your town, in your state, etc., we'll give you a Doctor's Choice Awards, and then you can highlight that. So always focus on winning one or two awards and then highlighting those. Last but not least, have pictures of you with patients. When I see someone like me, liking you or being a patient of yours, I will feel comfortable being a patient of yours. So for example, if I'm a young person, let's say in my 20s, seeing others in their 20s, standing next to you and smiling and, saying, would be a great thing. Or skin color is the other way people look at it, or even male versus female. So somebody who's 40 to 50-year-old. So have different pictures of patients with with you or your team, and then highlight it. Create a page called Happy Patient. So these are all things you can do to get people to like you and trust you online. If you're not doing these things, then the chances of your SEO translating into phone calls or leads is less. Of course, have call to actions. That's the other best practice. Make it easy for them to call you, book an appointment, etc. And make sure it's optimized for mobile. So these are all simple tips. Now, those are the things I would focus on. The other thing that might be causing an issue is the way the phone is answered or lack thereof. So for that, you need to have call tracking so you know what's going on with your phone calls. What's your conversion rate? Are you missing any calls? How many? What percentage? So these are all things you want to get into. I'm not touching on the phone experience for today. I'm just focusing on the things you can do on the website to make people want to become your patients and call your office.
Yeah, gosh, I heard about the statistic of among all the phone calls that come into dental practices, that it was like X percentage are actually answered. Do you know?
Yeah. So I think the statistic you might be referring to is the conversion rate, which is the percentage of new patients who end up becoming new patients. And that's
Yeah.
typically 1 out of 3. So
Wow.
that's pretty bad. So 2 people are not happy with what happened in the phone experience, and they're not booking an appointment with you. So
Yeah.
you really need to work on that. You need to find out what your conversion rate is. 9 out of 10 of you will not know what your conversion rate is because you never tracked it. It's like, imagine going to school and never getting a report card, never knowing whether you're getting 85 or A versus, an F. Like, so we need report cards. You need to know what your conversion rate is. Once you know it, then you can do something about it. You're getting a C. What can you do to get a B, etc.?
Yeah, yeah. I remember my first dental job when I was working for a DSO, I was over insurance and then subsequently ran the marketing department as well. And interestingly, when we started tracking exactly what you mentioned, the phone calls, we started to realize that we weren't addressing the majority of calls coming in. Well, the majority of the calls that came in a day, new patient wise, were in the evenings or after hours. And so that kind of prompted us to get a cell phone that would go to somebody that we'd pay, on a per call basis to take that phone with them home. And what we found is that once we started to address that, the dollars that we're spending on marketing in terms of new patient acquisition went down. It went from somewhere like $300-400 per new patient all the way down to like a shy bit over $100 by taking advantage of those opportunities. Because that's something that we wondered as well. It's like, holy smokes, we spent all this money on a great website and all this marketing, but we're not getting a lot of conversion. We're not getting a lot of new patients. And it was exactly what you mentioned, tracking, figuring out, when to be available. That kind of leads to another question as it pertains to sort of visibility on Google, you know. So I hear that this whole Google secret algorithm changes 3,000 times a year or something like that. Does that mean a website that continues to do well and ranks well on Google must evolve, must change and not be static in an effort for it to continue, to continue be ranking on that first page? Can you speak a little bit about that, Naren?
Absolutely. Remember, free traffic you get from website is just that, it's free. Instead of you paying $5 a click, $4 a click,
Mhm.
if you are in the top 5% of practices that get 95% of the free traffic, you're getting thousands or tens of thousands of dollars worth of marketing, and you're not paying for it, paying that money to Google. So Google doesn't like you because, the alternatives, they get paid thousands or tens of thousands from someone like you, and you're getting all that for free. So what do? They try to keep you on your toes because they don't want you to keep getting that free traffic every day, every week for the rest of time. Because if you do, then you have no reason to work really hard at it, and then nobody will use ads anymore because they'll all master how to get free traffic.
Mhm.
So Google has 6 types of things that they are looking at, 6 buckets. In each bucket, there is like 100 plus variables. So you are right. Google makes 3,000 changes a year, which is approximately 10 changes a day. And if you don't stay up, if you don't keep up and keep changing what you are doing based on Google's latest change, you're going to fall behind. And that's the way Google keeps kicking people off. So the key is just stay on top of it. Have people who know these 3,000 things and who can respond immediately to keep up. So the 6 things are NAP, Google Lighthouse Score, Google Eat, original content, quality backlinks, and Google reviews.
Mhm.
3 of those things are linked to your website. Original content, where you publish your content, it's on your website. Google EEAT, again, that a lot of that is done on your website. Google Lighthouse Score, that's the score Google gives every single page on your website. And again, if Google's algorithms for Google Lighthouse Score changes, you have to update that particular page or set of pages that are impacted by that change. If you don't, now the page that used to do really well for Google Lighthouse Score no longer does well, therefore your ranking will drop. So you have to keep up. So in our case, we have a webmaster team that's updating the web pages for Google Lighthouse and Google Eat. We have the writing team and then the set of editors and so forth working on updating the content based on Google's latest content standards. So
Mhm.
recently, Google made a major change when it comes to what they call human first content. So, making sure the content, again, is written by humans, but more importantly, meets all of Google's new standards is key if you want to be in that lucky 5% who's getting all the free traffic. And think of it like getting into the top dental school every day.
Mhm.
Because just because you got in yesterday or you ranked yesterday doesn't mean you have the right to rank today. You have to now earn it again. And Google will keep you on your toes by changing these algorithms.
Now that's that's very interesting. So it's a game of evolution, it sounds like to me, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And the more and more I learn about digital marketing, the more I believe, or I conclude that it is not as simple as it seems. In fact, it's rather complex. So, talking to a mutual client from Ogden, Utah, he was explaining to me how on top of things you must be as the client as well, right? In an effort to make sure that you are maximizing the use of the marketing company that you are using, right? So when it comes to alignment, right? How do you align the doctor and the doctor's team with your team, to get everybody to work together in a synchronistic way that creates for this kind of evolutionary process with the not Delta, sorry, with the Google algorithms. How do you manage all that, Naren?
Yeah. So it is complex. We have been doing it for 17 years. So we obviously have evolved over time and we continue to evolve. So we have certain roles that I think are critical for success. So when a site goes live, we take approximately 2 months, put 200 hours worth of work, and we have a dedicated team and a manager just to manage that process. I'm going to be honest, that is perhaps the most painful part of your experience with us
Mhm.
because we have to do things that you don't care about, but if you don't do it, you will have a pretty site that nobody goes to. In other words, Google won't rank you.
Yeah.
So because you're not used to it, nobody put 200 hours building these things in your past life. It's all Greek and new to you. So you're like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So it takes a little bit of getting used to and understanding, like it's like, I bet the kids who do well in dental school, the ones who do really well, they know the game. They know how to play the game. They master the game. They're not necessarily the ones who work the hardest. Usually they are the ones who have mastered the game of what do I need to pay attention to? How do I play this game? And then just play it beautifully, and they have an awesome life and they're crushing everything. So it's the same way, we have to do certain things up front. So that's what the Go Live team does. Then once the site goes live, you will have a dedicated, what we call a client services manager and a team manager on top of that person. So they are handling all the day-to-day internally and externally. So what are the things we have to do daily to make Google happy? What are the things we have to do daily and weekly to make you happy? You added a new team member, you wanted to change your keyword focus from these set of keywords to add few additional keywords and remove some keywords. Business is constantly evolving and changing, right? So that's what the day-to-day team does. And then of course you have a customer success manager / marketing strategist. They are thinking about the long term. They are thinking 3 months out, 6 months out, 1 year out. How do we make tomorrow better than today? What are the few things we can focus on, the 80-20 rule, where the things we do makes the most difference for you? So that way your results can continue to, maintain and improve over time. So that's the beauty of, organic marketing or SEO driven marketing. Like what you did last year will help you this year, versus with ads, you could have given Google $100,000 last year. It won't do anything for you this year. Like now you have to write the new $100,000 check, or more likely $110,000, because the pay-per-click rates continue to go up every year.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Some when it comes to websites, kind of going back to that again there, and I hear all the time that some doctors are held hostage with marketing companies. For instance, actually am aware of a current lawsuit that's against a website development company. Can't speak about it too much because it's still in the courts and all that, but essentially what started this is that a doctor's website was hacked. But that website was being housed on the marketing company server, right? And the marketing company was requiring that the doctor pay something in the range of like $5,000 to fix the bugs within that particular website so that they could republish it, right? Long story short, they ended up finding out that the marketing company themselves were the ones that manufactured those bugs. And it was no different than, when you hear about companies get their entire server locked, right? And then they have a ransom, right? You have to pay $50 million to get your company website back, or your whole CRM, whatever it is. And it kind of seems like to me that this is the pattern of what I'm hearing these days, is that when doctors get websites, it's the marketing company that owns the website, not you. So what are your comments on that?
Yeah, you bring up an excellent point, and this is where doctors not understanding what marketing is and what it should be, versus buying whatever they are sold. Like for example, there are lots and lots of marketing companies to this date. They lease their technology and their content to you. You don't own it. So they have the same articles published on 1,000 people's websites. So technically, it's not your content; it's their content.
Right.
Now, the reason it's a bad idea is it doesn't meet Google's original content standards. So one of the reasons you will never, ever, ever rank with that marketing company is your content is not original. It's shared with hundreds of other websites, right? Now, that's an example where the marketing company will say, well, too bad. You just leased my stuff. You're no longer with me. It's mine. You don't get to have it, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want that. You want a relationship where, think of your marketing company like somebody who's a contractor building your house for you, right? You own the house. They don't own it. Like, so for example, they paint. It's your house. You live in it. You enjoy the paint. You enjoy the colors, not them. Of course, you pay them for their work and stuff. So make sure, at the end of the contract, they give you a copy of the website, right? Obviously, they're not going to host it because you're not paying them. You're not their client. So they're not going to host it and manage it for you. So you have to manage it, or somebody else has to manage it. But at the very least, they have to give you everything they have done, minus any proprietary things. Obviously, there are technologies that might be embedded that marketing companies might use. But outside of the proprietary things, they should give you a working website that you should be able to run and manage. Now, what we find with our clients, 95% of our clients stay with us, few left and then have come back. The reason they come back is because marketing is an ongoing sport, just like I said, right? It's like getting into the top dental school every day. So just because you were doing well yesterday doesn't mean by taking that website that did well yesterday, you're going to do well tomorrow. It will drop. So you need to make sure, when you switch companies, that if you are doing well with SEO, if you are getting phone calls, the new company is able to maintain those things. So look at the results and make sure that the same results you are getting right now could be continued.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes perfect sense. Final question I have for you, Naren, is websites. In my opinion, you're paying this fee, right? You're paying a hosting fee and all that to operate a website. This whole thing about return on investment comes to mind. A website that doesn't produce a return on investment naturally is a useless website, right? How do you recommend a practice owner evaluate the effectiveness of their website and the marketing that goes along with it from an ROI perspective, return on investment perspective?
Yeah, so typically a 1 year mark is a good time to evaluate. So at the end of the year, you should be looking at how much am I paying monthly, and then how many new client calls am I getting? So if I'm getting, let's say 25 new client calls and I'm paying 1,250, that means each call is costing me $25. I think I got my math right, but anyway, something like that. So wait a minute. Sorry, $50 or something like that. Anyway, so $50. So you need to find out the cost of a new client, right? Now compare that to the cost of a new client from Google Ads, social media ads, print magazines. As long as the cost of a new client through your website driven marketing is less than the cost of any other marketing, which is my experience, if you do it right, then of course keep doing it, right? Because if that's the lowest cost way for you to get a new client, you should continue to keep doing it and make it better and better and better. Of course, the ones that are costing you the most, perhaps, it could be Google ads or it could be social media ads, which might cost you 5 times more. Then those one either you can reduce or cut it completely, as long as you're getting enough new clients from the lowest possible cost. So it's really important. You need to know the cost of a new client from your different marketing methods. Therefore, you can invest more on the things that work for you the best and less on the things that work for you the least.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I always recommend, Aaron, with the many mutual clients that we have, is a lot of them kind of go back to the marketing strategy meeting that you guys provide. And almost every single one says, holy smokes, that was love at first sight for me. Because when we went through that strategy meeting, we did things like this, assessing the effectiveness of what we're currently doing, and then finding areas of opportunity that were not even on our radar. So what I suggest for listeners is, it's a slow year this year, but what's true is that this is a perfect time to start reorganizing and revamping your marketing strategies, right? So check out our website, insuranceuntangledcom/MSM, to request a marketing strategy meeting with Naren and his team. Naren, can you briefly explain what the components of that as to why our clients have been loving it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a good place to start is to know where you stand, right? Once you know where you stand, you can develop a plan and do something about it. So this marketing strategy meeting you're talking about is a very good way for you to find out how well you're doing with your website, all the things we covered today, and how well you're doing with your marketing in general, SEO, etc. So once you know where you stand, then one of the things we'll also provide is like a 12-month roadmap, a 12-month game plan. So regardless of where you are, how do you get your marketing within 12 months to the top 5%, where you're at least getting ranking for 100 keywords, you're at least getting, 20 new patient calls a month, etc. So that's what we focus on in this marketing strategy meeting. It's our gift to you. And the link again for the marketing strategy meeting is, let me just find it. Do you know what the link is? Oh, it's insuranceuntangledcom/MSM. insuranceuntangledcom/MSM. So that's where I would start, and I would, I would book that marketing strategy meeting if I were you, and just get a plan, and then do something about it, right? Because you already are spending a lot of money, in the form of a marketing fee. If you are a PPO practice, probably it's costing you 30 times as much as an SEO patient, because with PPO patients, you're paying every time that patient shows up, not just for the first visit. So it can really be expensive. So you're already spending money on marketing, whether you know it or not, if you're in practice. So why not find the cheapest way to get new patients? And I think a website driven strategy is the best way to go.
That's excellent. Again, insuranceuntangled.com/MSM. Thank you, Naren, for today. This is actually a very content-filled episode. I appreciate your knowledge. Always learn something new about marketing when we chat. And to our listeners, we hope you learned a thing or two today as well. So thank you again for joining us on another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. If you like today's episode, don't forget to share it with your friends and your family that are in dentistry on social media and any other platform that you use. We also appreciate reviews, so take time to review us. That'll help other doctors find our content. Again, visit insuranceuntangled.com to find future webinars, episodes, and freebies that we often throw out there to our listeners from time to time. Until we meet again, hope you all have a great day. We wish you the best of success.